And it says we're live. Good evening, everyone. However, it also appears that there's going to be so much lag and so much delay that I don't even know what it is I'm streaming. Uh, so sorry if we don't get to your comments in a timely manner, everyone. But yeah, like what I'm seeing as a preview is clearly not live. So
Yeah, I'm seeing give your hands a scrub.
yeah, that's anyway. I'm here with Craig Bragg. Craig, how are you?
I am well. How are you, sir?
I'm coughing a bit, but don't worry, don't worry. It's not the Corona Chan. It's just my allergy pill wearing off.
Likely story.
Oh, so okay. Before we went live, I was asking you, are you having what might be like panic attacks if you ever have to leave the house? And you were saying no. You're okay, right?
Yeah, I think I'm just. It's probably a sign of stupidity. I I keep in mind that I have to keep social distance, but I don't freak out about it.
Mm,
I'm aware of what it is I'm touching, and I'm quick to sanitize and wash my hands. So I think I'm following all the steps I need to. I take the dog out for a walk every day, and I give people a wide berth on the sidewalk, and you know, um, and I think that's what we need to do. I go. We went to visit family and deliver some groceries to an elderly family member, and I just punch the elevator numbers with my elbow and put a sleeve over my hand when I'm opening doors and stuff like that. That's all I shouldn't say that's all you need to do. No, I'm saying that's all I've been doing. Not trying to think too much about it. Washing my hands when my wife reminds me. So yeah, you're panicking though when you head out.
yeah, not panicking, but I am being upset by other people doing shit wrong. Like you go to the grocery store and yes, there's tape on the floor and tons of people are wearing masks. I would say it's like in the mid 90% range that people are wearing masks, wearing gloves, distancing in the store, and the stores are limiting the amount of people they allow in at one time, right? But then there's two assholes in the store who open up the fridge for milk and they take the one milk and look at the date and shake their head and put it back and take another one. And they're not wearing gloves or a mask,
No.
right? And they don't like that one either. It's like, motherfucker, how many of them you got to touch?
Well, it's like
Like,
eggs too. Melina, my wife was complaining. I keep doxing her by saying her name. My wife was complaining that she was there getting eggs for her aunt, her parents, the whole bit. And there was another shopper who was, going into the case, getting eggs out, opening it up, checking the eggs, which, you do because you
yeah,
don't want to buy broken eggs. But she's standing there with the door open, basically blocking it from anybody else. And then, once she finally picked her eggs, she just goes over to her cart, standing basically in the way, going through her phone, checking her list. And so, her point is, look, I would go if I needed 3 dozen eggs. She'd go and buy the 3 packages of eggs, or go grab them, take them back to her cart, which would be off to the side, check them, and if she had to replace them, then she'd go back and replace one. But this person was basically dominating the aisle, kind of thing,
yeah,
and that kind of frustrated her. And like I said, it's one of these things that people are going to have to get used to doing. And I think socially, we're going to have to start, saying, like we say to people, sneeze into your elbow, crick, or sneeze into your elbow.
mm,
You should be putting that social pressure on people, saying, "Hey, social distancing," or
yeah,
"Am I
seriously.
moving out of the way?" Kind of thing.
Do you want
But I mean,
draconian countermeasures? Because that's how we get draconian countermeasures.
you want tyrants? This is how we get tyrants. Um, but yeah, and the thing is, grocery stores are kind of limited in that they're laid out in such a way that you're going to have to pass by somebody within 3 or 4 feet when you're going down the aisle. It's as simple as that. Unless you're going to wait for one person to go down each aisle and then take your turn going down the aisles, that doesn't make any sense either. But no, people do need to start being aware of how much space they're taking, and take into consideration the current paradigm.
Yeah, and I mean, man, I'm looking at the worldometer here. Was it 2 or 3 days ago that we crossed 1 million cases?
I think it was a day or two ago. I think it was either Friday or Thursday.
Well, because we're at 1.2 million globally today. So, I mean, it's 1 million didn't seem like a ton. Holy shit.
Yeah, 1.2 million looks like.
Like, yeah, but I mean, from December, and this is like completely removing China from the equation at this point.
Right.
We can't count on their numbers at all. 1 million from late December till 2 days ago, and then over 2 days, a 20% increase. That's fucking nuts.
It is a little crazy, but I do have to point out I have been seeing some things online that some hospitals in New York are basically reporting every death as a coronavirus death in order to receive assistance and federal funding and the whole bit. Right. This is the system they're living in. I don't know if that's true. This is what's going on online. You don't know if it's rumor or what, but I'm not 100% confident with the reporting systems they have in place anywhere really, because every place has their own way of doing things. I've heard that comorbidity, if somebody dies of a comorbidity, so they have a weak ticker, or they're already immune compromised. If they die during this time in hospital, they're just saying, oh, it was probably exacerbated by coronavirus, so we're saying it was coronavirus death. So or they'll do autopsies and find the virus posthumously, right? Well, you don't know when they contracted the virus. I know they could probably do that with a deep enough forensics look into things if it was, surface level sort of contamination, or if it was genuinely in their system kind of thing. So I think the problem that we're seeing here, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody else the way I talk about it and the way I approach it, is that because this has become the story of the day, the desire is to get more information out there, to keep it as sensational as possible, and to sort of sow panic, as opposed to having a sober approach to it. And I think a lot of the anxiety that people are feeling is in the media's sloppy reporting of things, and,
The
and
regular flip flopping.
the regular flip flopping, saying there's nothing wrong with China. There's no reason why we should block China. And then 3 weeks later, you know, Trump didn't block travel from China quick enough. It's like stupid stuff like that. But the flip flopping, the sensationalist approach to it, there's a mandate that the media is supposed to have, that the news media is supposed to have, in terms of when there's crisis situations. You shouldn't be trying to sow panic, and I worry that that's what they're doing. And the problem is because politicians can be taken down by media so easily, except for our man south of the border. He seems unassailable. I mean, they try to every time, but they can't seem to, they can't. He's Teflon Don, as they say, right? But because the politicians know the strength of media, know that it could sink their careers, and know they could sink their administrations, they're playing along in this sort of like I don't know, panic. I'm not trying to say it's not serious. Of course it is serious, but the way in which you report it and the way in which you approach it needs to be sober. And when it's not soberly reported, they're not going to act on it soberly. And you're going to get conflicting messages going out. You're going to get people saying, foolish things or silly things. So, yeah, that's my take on the look at it right now. But
No, I would agree, but I think it's even deeper than just the media. It's actually our so-called leaders. that are
Well,
giving
and
the
again,
bad
I think.
information, relying on China, relying on the what it seems to be the China Health Organization,
Oh,
and
I know
then
that drives me nuts. That
weeks
they're parroting
afterwards,
the China propaganda. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not surprised by Trudeau doing it because he's a commie at heart. But I am kind of, when I see news outlets, I shouldn't be surprised when they do it either because they're as terrible as they've ever been. But when they're parroting, Chinese uh, Communist Party talking points and going after the president using data and sound bites from the Chinese government, you just you screw your own credibility even further. Not that they're credible right now.
yeah.
But,
But I mean, like,
yeah, and the World Health, you're right. The World Health Organization is they're complicit in this nonsense too. They were saying back in January that there's no evidence based on Chinese reports that there's any human to human contact, human to human transition, but turns out now by things coming out that the Chinese government knew about human to human transmission and the spread of the virus as far back as November, maybe even October, but
yeah.
at least November.
But I'm like, I was saying that, I feel something akin to panic a little bit, especially when I see people behaving badly, and you're saying that the media is sowing panic. Something I've said before, the opposite of panic is preparedness. If you're ready, right? If you've taken all the precautions, you don't have to panic. It's
True.
done. It's already, you've already dealt with it. But
I got put in jail, Twitter jail,
again,
again, for 12 hours this time. So I don't know. Maybe what I put out there wasn't as bad. And they go, oh, we'll only put him in there for 12-hour Twitter jail. So basically, this was from an old tweet. It was from a tweet where somebody was, they posted something in all caps, decrying Donald Trump over something. I think this was like a January tweet back when he was saying something about, we should be taking the same precautions as we do when we have the flu. Cough in your arm, keep a distance, wash your hands regularly, blah, 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 blah. Right? And this person was saying, this is serious. And they're losing their minds and they were posting in all caps. And I just tweeted, oh, you should probably panic then. Why don't you go out in the street and run around crazy? And they said that I was encouraging encouraging somebody to self-harm. And so they put me in Twitter jail for 12 hours. Yeah. Somebody's got in for me at the Twitter
wow.
in the Twitter offices. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Now, hold on. This is way off topic, but I do have to address this. Judging by some of the comments that I'm seeing, when I clicked go live, it started streaming like I don't know what happened with my streaming software and YouTube, but it started streaming like retroactively. So when I was coming back from the can and you had just hopped in and we started, it started streaming that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh wow, that's so weird because it was on the welcome screen, like the waiting screen, right? And then I opened a new tab. I went back to YouTube, and it started with, "Well, we're live," So I don't know. Maybe it did. But
geez,
we'll see tomorrow, unless you go back and edit it later.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can after when you live stream it.
We'll see. But I also wanted to talk about Doug Ford.
Yeah, let's talk about Premier Ford.
Yeah, Premier Ford. Something had happened. Was this last weekend on the Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
That a bunch of masks came in and they needed to get wherever they were going. So in his jeans and a t-shirt, he just pulled up in his pickup truck, loaded up the truck by himself and drove off. Didn't tell anybody, just went and did it. And it wasn't like a news story, just someone saw him and was like, is that Doug Ford? And took a couple of pictures.
Oh, there was a viral video.
Yeah.
Viral pictures or whatever.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a staged photo op. You think it was a genuine gesture of I need to get my roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty in this.
Yeah,
dig in.
Absolutely, because I mean,
very, very well could be, or it could be a very well staged photo op, and where he didn't notify media. He said, "I want one guy with his cell phone taking video."
I
Dude,
don't.
I'm not saying what he didn't do was genuinely good. I'm saying it's don't. I'm less inclined, because you know how I feel about government. I'm less inclined to feel that it was a purely magnanimous gesture and not a sophisticated photo op on his part.
I can
Not that
see it's.
I don't have anything against Doug Ford either. He's a fine premier. I've got no issues with him at all.
I can see it's possible, but I don't know. Like in Toronto, the Ford brothers, when they were councillors and then mayor, they were notorious for exactly that kind of stuff. That
Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that. They're known for being, politicians of the people. They are well liked in their neighborhood. So yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's true.
that they would give out their cell phone number to basically anybody, answer their
Mm-hmm.
phone directly. It doesn't go to an office or to like some intern who's saying, Doug Ford is busy right now. Can I help you? And they would
Mm-hmm.
drive out to people's houses and like help them take out their garbage or till
And
their
smoke crack with them.
garden and shit. Like they're smoke crack with them, yeah. But
No, I'm just fucking with you.
they would literally roll up their sleeves and do the work.
That's good though. I mean,
And no, but
that has appeal for sure, and it's a good thing for them to do that.
yeah, and early in his premiership, Doug Ford called into a radio station that was talking about it, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa, you've got it all wrong." He called in, started correcting the record, let's say, right, giving his side
Mm-hmm.
of the story, and then gave out his personal cell phone number over the radio.
Wow, that's asking for trouble, but that's
It
cool.
was because a whole bunch of the anti-Ford activists just started ringing the number off the hook, and
Yeah.
other people couldn't get through, and he had to change the fucking phone number. It was
Well,
like
that's good.
such assholes. But
Yeah.
the fact, oh, what's that? No, okay, yeah, Sunday afternoon, I've got nothing to do. I'll go do it, and just drive out. I do not put it past him at all. I also don't put it past him that he would have put one guy with the cell cam. Sure, why not? But it's something he would just do.
Yeah, and you know what? And the thing is, it's tough to fake that too. Like when Trudeau goes and does a photo op and puts on a hard hat and acts like he's, friend of the worker kind of thing. It's so manufactured and so fake, you can see it. So when you see guys like Doug Ford, you see people like, I'm going to blow smoke up his ass, Donald Trump. People genuinely like him because he comes off as genuine. Is he a genuine guy? I'm inclined to think so, but um, you know, whether he is or not, he resonates that way. People who do support him genuinely like him
Yeah.
and think he's a stand-up guy. So, but I was watching because me, I don't follow Canadian politics terribly closely. I follow it tangentially as it pertains to American politics, really.
Right.
Even though I am Canadian, I know that's a sad state, but but I was watching just before because you said you wanted to talk about Doug Ford. I was watching his press briefing yesterday, the phone-in press briefing he had, and it struck me as kind of funny. He was lamenting and talking about how it wasn't nice and it wasn't right, and this is terrible, and he's disappointed in the U.S. government for blocking 3M from shipping N95 masks and PPE equipment. I guess that's a redundant PPE devices. And he's, you don't do that. We're family. We're stronger together. All these sorts of things. But then he followed up with saying, so we're never going to become reliant on another country again. We're
Yeah.
going to start making this stuff ourselves.
Oh,
And I'm like, that's the point.
yeah.
This is the entire point of the whole, national agenda on the southern side of the border with regards to the Trump administration. He wants countries to take care of their people first and stop seeking, to be helped out all the time by, the United States, particularly. Right now, is it a national or international crisis, and should the United States be helping out? Yes. However, when 3M says they're going to ship a bunch of masks over to China, the people who got us into this mess, I think he's within his right to say, no, that shit's staying here. Now that the Canada was rolled up into that, is unfortunate, but it drives the point home to the leaders in Canada that you should be basically opening up the factories to allow them to make your masks. And Ford was talking about the Woodbridge place that he's trying to get them to make masks. And who's holding it back? Who's keeping it from happening? The federal government.
Yeah.
So this is something where, there shouldn't be any delay. There shouldn't be any, well, they have to get approved. If they send them the just send them the documents, have the factory send them the documents. Look, we want to make these. We have the capacity. Here's what we have. Here's what we can do. Blah, 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 blah. Here's, all of our credentials insofar as, what our facility is designed for, yada, yada, yada. And just say, yeah, go ahead, do it. Make sure you keep it clean.
Yeah.
Like, why they're wasting time to go through red tape is, sort of boggles the mind. And I'm sorry, I'm dominating your.
No,
your
not
stream.
at all.
I'm like, I won't stop talking. I won't stop talking.
No, I love your takes. Because I'm starting to wonder though, like how much of, like our federal government trying to slow this down is trying to appease China so that we still have to buy masks from China.
I mean, that's a possibility, I suppose. I would hate to think that they're that bought off, but I mean, we are talking about the Trudeau government. He praised the basic dictatorship of China for being able to get things done. Remember that a few years back when he was running. I would say that my favorite country. I admire China for being the basic dictatorship and get things done really, really well. Yeah. Good on you there.
I loved in that soundbite where Doug Ford was saying, like, just the disdain in his voice, like, I'm never gonna rely on President Trump or any prime minister to get shit done. Like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, forget it. Let's and also there was something in there about, and not just for Ontario. Like, we're gonna do it for Ontario, but we're gonna try and get it done for the rest of Canada. We're supposed to be the manufacturing engine of the country in Ontario, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I know, and that's good. And it's an argument then for having a more federalist model in Canada as opposed to what we have now, where everything starts at the top and gradually sifts its way down to the provinces. This is the thing that's sort of really bothering the people on the left with regards to Trump, where he's like, "Are you going to do a national lockdown?" And he's like, "No, that's up to the states." He understands the federalist system, and he's like, "No, that's up to the states. They have to institute what policies they see fit." And my cynical side is they're asking these questions and pushing for this to happen because they want to have Trump issue a national full scale national lockdown, and then call him a dictator.
Right.
Right. And here's the thing. If it turns out that they're able to get a handle on it in the next 30 to 60 days, I know that's not in the models. I know they're talking, upwards of 2 years, which, God, I hope that's not the case, because that's going to lead to economic collapse. But if they're talking, if they can do something in the next 60 days, they were talking about how by the end of June, they should have, their models predict anywhere from 100 to 200,000 deaths in the United States. And if they can get below that, that's great. So here's my prediction, my cynical prediction. It'll be much lower than 100,000 deaths in the United States after Donald Trump issues a national lockdown, and then they'll say he instituted despotic powers and overreacted on this whole thing, and use that as a talking point. But
yeah, no, that it doesn't matter what he does. It's wrong.
No,
like
that's
yeah.
Yeah, that's why hydroxychloroquine and smistoprin or whatever it's called has been so hard to get off the ground, because people are basically, it was Trump stock talked about it, and even though it's effective, we don't want to give him this win.
No, yeah, and then there's people screeching about, oh, but it has side effects, and apparently it's like 1 in 7,000 people will experience.
Right, and they're putting out stories.
Effects, but
they're putting out stories about it can kill you with just 2 grams. Yeah, that's why they prescribe it in the milligram. They describe it in thousands of grams. They don't prescribe it in grams. You twit. Anyway, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about this sensationalist, panic-driven media. It's just they're not doing what they're supposed to be, and that is to maintain a sense of calm and actually get valuable information out to people instead of trying to paint everything in a certain light.
Which seems to be something that Doug Ford is doing. He's trying to be relatively transparent and give the actual numbers, right? And say, this is why we need to do these things. So do them, without without enacting draconian measures, right? Let's just all work together till this is done. I
Right,
do want
exactly.
I do want to point out this one comment that I just read here from Lauren Southern. Every time Trudeau comes out of his little house and sees his shadow, he gives us another 8 weeks of coronavirus.
It's true. I better put my coat on. It's a little chilly. God. Lauren Southern, I love it. The memes are hilarious, yeah. Stan Ulch says, I admire China for how much tech they can steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good at that.
No, and I did see some people about China saying, oh, look, China sent a whole bunch of PPE or whatever to Canada, aren't they? It's like, literally, it's the same shit we just shipped them like 3 weeks prior. They just
it's
gave
probably
it
still in
back.
the same
It's
boxes. They just magic markered over the label and put on a new label.
fuck, like,
Yeah.
oh, they've done.
China is asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You know. What was I gonna? I was gonna mention something. It slipped my mind. I got COVID brain. But yeah, it's I have what do you call it? Nitrile gloves, and I have some masks because when I bought a 3D printer, they sent me some. I should be going out with that on, but I don't because one, I don't like the masks aren't comfortable, and I know how to keep a wide berth from people. And the nitrile gloves, I don't know. I haven't thought about wearing them, but I guess I should. If I'm going to be picking up groceries and stuff, I should be putting them on.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, especially if you have to take stuff to someone who's at far greater risk, like say an elderly person, if you're doing their shopping for them. Yeah, and if you can find them, some of those Lysol wipes,
Yep.
kill 99%, right, and wipe everything down. Wipe it all down.
Yeah, it's true. You should wipe it all down. I went to. It's funny. I went to. I'm not going to say the burger chain, but if you watch my channel, my most recent video, you'll know who it was. But I'm there waiting for my burgers, and the kid who's cooking them, he's wearing gloves, which is great, good for him.
Mm-hmm.
But while he's waiting for the burgers to cook, and there's a bit of a lull in the business because it's not very busy, right? Nobody's going out. He reaches into his pocket to look at his phone with his glove on, and I'm like, dude, seriously? Anyway, I didn't care. I still ate my burger, and I feel fine.
For now.
For now. It was only yesterday, so I'm sure I'll get symptoms later if need be. But no, it was this guy cooked both our burgers, hon. So my wife was saying it was probably my burger, not your burger. I'm like, well, he cooked both of them. So, yeah, and with the whole with regards to these the PPE and the nitrile gloves, the masks, and everything. So, did you hear about France? Basically, there was a shipment of them destined for England or the UK, and France basically said, "No, we're confiscating these."
Apparently, that's not the first time that's happened in Europe either. That
oh my god!
Yeah, that they're like, oh, European unity, every man for himself right now, man.
Oh,
like,
I know.
yeah.
That's what it is right now. Yeah, Sargon, Carl Benjamin had a video on it or was it no? Black Pigeon Speaks did a video on it. Basically, the European Union's done. The internationalism and globalism is done because of this. Because, like Ford said, we're not going to rely on another country. We're going to take care of manufacturing this stuff ourselves. And this is what they're calling for in the United States too. We shouldn't have outsourced all of our medical manufacturing and our requirements to another country. And it's true. It's true. Just think of all the manufacturing jobs that would be still in the United States if they hadn't done that. But you can thank Henry Kissinger for that because he's the one who brokered that deal a couple of decades ago. He basically made the shift with the other New World Order people to move all of the manufacturing over to China because it was much, much cheaper and put, millions upon millions of Americans out of work because of it. So
yeah,
fucking Kissinger.
And there was something I saw on Twitter too. This is more to do with the economy, right? That someone was saying like, "Oh, Trump wants to put tariffs on Russian and Saudi oil, right? What happened? What happened to free markets?" And it's like,
Yeah.
hold on a second. Those other nations don't necessarily play by the same rules
No.
that they do in America, and if they don't, well, then trading with them isn't really free. Like it's like they're playing a different game, right?
Right.
If you can have slave labor, then your costs are going to be drastically different. So then outsourcing all the work over there, like it just increases the amount of slave labor over there and kills all the labor here. If you put the tariffs on
Yeah.
to level that playing field, then
Yeah. Well, it's true. And if you look now, like right now, despite all of this lockdown measures, the only good saving grace we have right now is that gas in Canada is below 70 cents a liter. Now, and part of that is because of the pricing issues that they're having in basically they dropped the price of oil in Saudi Arabia.
yeah,
Basically, it bottomed, and that's the same issue that Venezuela, because the world price of oil has gone down. Venezuela's having much more trouble than they've ever had, simply because that was the only thing where they got any revenue at all was their oil. Now that the price is tanked, they attacked a cruise ship. Did you hear about this? They attacked a cruise ship in international waters. They sent out one of their own like naval frick, fired on them and rammed them, and then they ended up sinking their own.
yeah.
So
Oh.
desperate times, you know.
Yeah, and just that reminds me of this old fucking meme that I've seen where there's someone just caught the photo just right where there's a hang glider passing by, but it looks like they're gonna fly straight into the CN Tower, right?
Yeah.
And it says, Newfie suicide attacks on Toronto have begun. Death toll 1.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me laugh. How do you sink a Newfie submarine?
How?
Knock on the door.
Oh man.
It's okay. It's okay for us to make fun of Newfies because one, we're Canadian and they're Canadian, and two, my
Dave-
granddad was. So I'm one quarter Newfie, so I'm permitted to make fun of.
Well, from what I understand, is the absolute best Newfie jokes were all coined by Newfies. So
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were probably just they were probably basically co-opted Polack jokes and co-opted Irish jokes. Because before the Newfies were made fun of universally, it was the Irish and the Poles that were
yeah,
made
no,
fun of.
and it's all the same jokes. Just
Yeah,
everybody gets a turn.
yeah. But Newfies have a good sense of humor about it all, so that's good.
And okay, so let's go into this stupid thing.
Not enough commies are dying because they have masks on due to being part of Antifa. It's true. They got ahead of the curve. You know, they have some foresight, at least in that respect.
Yeah, but filthy hippies don't wash their hands. It'll take care of itself. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So okay, now the worldometer it rolls over the day at Greenwich Mean Time. So global cases, new cases today says only 33, and yesterday was 84,800. The day before that was like 101,000 new cases. So this is a mite fewer, but God, can you believe that? 200,000
Yeah.
new cases in 2 days.
That's
Globally.
insane. But again, it comes down to like this lag in reporting and whatever the reporting factors systems they have in place. How accurate are they? How much can we trust them? I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in the minutia of numbers. I asked my wife what the numbers were because keeping track of it tonight because I wanted to know what we're looking at in Ontario right now because I thought it would probably come up. But yeah, what are we at? We're under 100 right now in Ontario. And I
Sorry, how
think
many?
the models they're talking about, if there were no social distancing and people just went back to normal, we're looking at 6,000 deaths. If we continue doing the social distancing, we're looking at 1,600 deaths by the end of it all. And if we ramp things up and make things a little bit more draconian, which I'm not looking forward to, we could go as low as 200 deaths. And I think they're going to shoot for doing that, right?
So I have the model. I sent you the link on Discord there.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, and I think those numbers that you're putting out there, those are end of April.
That's what they're talking about for end of April.
Yeah,
Okay. That makes sense. But you sent it directly to me?
yes, yeah, just as a message.
Okay.
Corona Chen's got me. Yeah, so with our, like, apparently we have something like 3,200 as of April 2nd in Ontario.
Cases.
Cases, 67 dead.
Yeah.
And by end of April, with our current intervention, it could be as high as 80,000. Hopefully, with what they're calling full future intervention, as low as 12,500 by end of April.
Cases. Yeah.
Cases, yeah.
Well, I don't know what full future intervention means, but I know it's expanded to exclude vape shop from being essential services. Kind of irritates me. Now I got to wait for shipping. First world problems, can I tell you?
Yeah.
I like going to the vape shop and standing, 12 feet away, picking it up myself. It's the only time I get to go in the car and make video.
No, yeah, just gonna have to go for a drive.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been doing. That's why I had 2 videos in a row because I went out for a drive on Friday and I went out on Saturday as well.
Just drive to
Or no, Friday and Thursday. Thursday and Friday I made videos. Did you see my latest video about the coming storm? The QAnon coming storm? Apparently 4/16 is a big one too. So 4/10 and 4/16 are supposed to be the dates to watch because something's gonna come out. I don't know what that means. But.
Well, from the ridiculousness that I've heard, 4/10, the internet and phones are gonna go down, and then 4/16, I think everything comes back online. And it's yeah.
See, I haven't delved that deep. How does the internet go down? The internet was designed as an emergency communications platform.
I have no idea.
It can't get shut down.
I don't know. Iran can do it.
I'll get my Tor browser up. I'll get a VPN and a Tor browser, and then I'll be fine.
Yeah. So yeah,
Toronto should be walled off. Why wall off Toronto?
Because it's shit.
All of Canada's shit. What are you?
Just fill it with water.
Except Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is a beautiful province.
Yeah, I want to move there one day. One day.
The Muskokas are full of horrid, rich Torontonians. I take it from that Stan Ulch lives in Muskokas. Maybe he doesn't. Or he lives near them, but... Wait until the ghost comet comes, says Pox. I think he's referring to... He's referring to the QAnon.
Oh, okay. So okay, the now again, remember these models, they're upfront about it. There's a lot of assumptions built in. There's a lot of like based on what's happening now and what we suspect we can do in the future, right? Like models aren't perfect, and it's amazing looking at these models and how they're saying, well, this model says this, but we really don't know what's going to happen. But also, if we don't fix climate change in the next 12 years, this model predicts that everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
And we can rely on those models, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And also the tax can change the weather. But these models, but at least Ford is straightforward about these Projected Ontario deaths over the course of the pandemic without public health measures is 100,000. I think that number is insanely low. That's ridiculously low.
Well,
It's probably
what's the population of our province? About what is it, about
14.5 million.
I think New Brunswick would be, if I'm not mistaken, New Brunswick has an older population than Ontario. Like more of their population is in the older range than Ontario.
It's hard to get a solid peg on. Oh wait, no, not New Brunswick. Yeah, New Brunswick's got a big school there too. Like New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, a lot of people come from all around there to go to school there. So it's hard to say who actually lives there or who's just living there now.
Yeah. No, I know that New Brunswick is like a retirement haven because they've put a lot of effort into assisted care facilities. Like they've built per capita, they've got more resources devoted to treating the elderly than in any other province. So that's why I'm thinking they probably have an older population. So
Yeah,
I could be
that
wrong.
makes sense.
I don't know the statistics. I don't keep up on that stuff.
Makes sense.
It's a flu, says Ibatlis.
It's just the flu, bruh.
It's the flu, bruh. Yeah, no.
Oh no.
Hillary Clinton tests negative for president of the United States.
You like that one, eh?
I do. Hillary Clinton is Carol Baskin. Joe Exotic is Donald Trump.
I still have not seen it. Tiger King, for anyone who doesn't know what the hell's going on. I don't even know if I'm gonna try.
It's the wife and I binged it pretty much in a night. We watched one or two episodes, we watched one episode one night, and then the remaining 7 or 6 the next night. They're only about 45 minutes long. It's worth watching just for the pure train wreck of it all. To go, oh my god, there's people like this in the world. Oh, the cat is crying for food. Hold on a sec, okay?
Go for it.
You can talk to yourself.
I will. Let me say hello to some of the people in chat. Oh my, Augusto Pinochet, hashtag Liberty Prime. Thanks for coming. Ibatlis, IB Atlas. I forget how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. Mr. Dax, Mama Bear, good to see y'all. Stan, the man, how are ya? Marty, haven't seen you in forever. Yeah, Pox, I see you. Just hop in the chat, would you? Save this show from me. Oh, and of course, Tippy Canoe. I don't know if he's still hanging around. Uncle Jeezy. Tippy Canoe got in just after I did. National Socialist Cosby. What? What the fuck? What kind of weird ass people do I attract? It's alright. Oh, okay, but yeah, no, self-sustainability is the future. I like that. That's just Cringe Diversity Channel. And Lauren Southern, of course. Good to see so many people. Thanks for coming, everyone. It's really I really appreciate it. It's Saturday night. And we're all locked down.
We were up to 22 at one point. We're down to 18 now, but
my gosh, yeah. Just I mean, everyone's on lockdown.
what else are you gonna do?
But I mean, hey, with your Saturday night viewing, you could have watched anything, and you're watching us. So yeah. Thank you kindly, guys. I'm touched. Really.
It's allergies. He's not touched.
So, where were we? What were we getting at?
I don't remember. We might have killed a topic already, but I was gonna ask about after I posted my my Q Storm is Coming video. Somebody commented Event 201. And I don't know if you've looked into what Event 201 is, and I was
No.
trying to search it, but I guess it's a if I just from a cursory glance, and maybe someone in the comments can confirm, but Event 201 is supposed to be um, a planned pandemic, so that it could test the feasibility of different countries' ability to survive the pandemic. So this is all a big ruse apparently, but I don't think.
That's look. I don't think anyone in their right mind, keep in mind, right mind, would actually orchestrate a pandemic. That, but I wouldn't put it past anybody to try and capitalize on a pandemic that happens to occur.
Well, yeah, that's it. But here's the thing: like Bill Gates did I don't know if you've seen the video, but he did a speech somewhere. I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, where he was talking about coronaviruses specifically, and he's talking about if we have a coronavirus pandemic with these certain characteristics in terms of infection rate, lethality, blah blah blah, then we're not prepared for it. Now, right around the time this thing broke out, he resigned from the board of Microsoft. So I wonder if he's putting all his attention into Event 201. I don't know.
That what correlation? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I don't know either. I like entertaining these things. They're fun.
I wouldn't be surprised though to see, like, in particular, maybe Middle East, certain places in Asia, if there were, yeah, military incursions based on certain weaknesses in their infrastructures because of the virus,
Yeah, I could see that happening.
right?
I haven't heard much about what's going on in Iran. I know they were hit pretty hard initially, but now everybody's talking about Italy. I don't know what's going on in Iran. Have they basically broken down now, and we're just nobody's following it?
Uh, well, I mean, I don't know again if we can trust the numbers coming out of Iran, but
Right.
looks like they've got about 56,000 cases,
Yeah.
right? 3,500
Again,
dead.
yeah. I don't know if you can trust it either. I mean, they were encouraging people to go to what do you call it, to temple or I don't guess they don't, to mosque, not temple,
Yeah.
to go to mosque, and they're encouraging people to lick shrines and shit. So
Yeah,
they weren't encouraging people, but people were licking shrines and violating, talking about coronavirus is nothing. Allah will protect us. Here, I'll lick this temple to prove it, or I'll lick this shrine to prove it.
dies.
Yeah, it dies exactly. It's like that kid who licked the toilet and then now he has coronavirus.
Oh, God, I actually heard some an imam or a mullah, I'm not sure what his fucking Islam rank was, saying that coronavirus is a warrior for Allah, and it's gonna strike
Yep.
down the infidels.
That's right. It's gonna kill all the infidels. I don't think it cares about religion. Just something telling me. But hey, you do you, buddy. Speaking of people doing stupid shit, there's a guy in California. I don't know if you saw this story, but this guy went out paddleboarding on the ocean in California, miles from anybody. It was like an empty beach, nobody on the beach. He's out in the ocean, nowhere near anybody. And the Coast Guard comes around with like 3 boats. The cops come to the beach. They arrest the guy. You're violating the distancing order. You guys are violating the distancing order by coming up to arrest me. I was nowhere near anybody. What the hell's the deal?
No, yeah. How,
I'm like,
how,
come on. Like this, they're saying go out, get some exercise, just maintain social distancing. There's nothing more social distancing than paddleboarding in the middle of the ocean around nobody.
How do you get more isolated than alone
Exactly.
in the ocean?
And you're gonna arrest this guy for it? Oh man,
Like,
this is my issue with like government overreaction to this stuff, right?
yeah, just ridiculous. Okay. Oh, so I wanted to return to this idea that I had the other day about people gathering in large groups being a violation of the non-aggression principle.
Right. I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And you were saying, if they are all consenting,
Yeah.
then that's fine. But it occurred to me afterwards, invariably, all those people that go to the barbecue or whatever, they're going to have to go shopping at some point.
Hmm.
And if they went to a barbecue going, no, it's going to be fine, coronavirus, that strikes me as quite possibly the same kind of person who's going to go with no face mask and no gloves and then touch all the eggs and check the dates on all the milks and put them all back and shit. So,
Yeah.
you know, now those people in the grocery store are being possibly exposed to whoever the hell they were exposed to prior. Is that
Understood. I understand that completely,
okay?
and I get your point where they're violating the non-aggression principle by basically endangering others through their actions. I understand that.
Yeah.
Um, I think, though, that we, living in the society that we do, all accept certain risks, and ultimately, we ourselves are responsible for our own health. So, um, if there wasn't a pandemic on, people could congregate in a barbecue. One guy could pass something on to somebody else, and that somebody else, not knowing he has it, could go to a grocery store and touch eggs, and somebody else could be exposed to it. But ultimately, you're responsible for keeping your hands clean. You're responsible for eating right and taking proper precautions to make sure you're healthy. I don't think that goes out the window just because the risk is higher. I think that ultimately, the people at the barbecue know their risks, and they're like, okay, so I guess I put it down to this. I'm not in a position where I want to completely dismantle society because there's a risk. And
Right.
I guess my concern there is that if we're talking about nobody can ever interact again, and they're talking about this could go on for 2 years, but if I can't see people face to face for 2 years, I don't know that that's the kind of place I want to live.
No, for sure. And I mean,
Right?
but in the meantime, like especially now, while this thing is still, judging by the past 2 days, it's still globally ramping up. Like this is not, hey, we've slowed it down and we can ease back a little bit. It's like, no, 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 we're still at the beginning of it, quite possibly. I'm not suggesting that we should be sending in police task force to give fines to the 51 people in somebody's backyard. I'm maybe suggesting that maybe we ease off on the laws a little bit if all of the surrounding neighbors whose backyards are connecting to that one all decide they just want to turn their hoses on them and just not punish them, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Loosen it up a bit.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Here's the thing, though. You're not talking about giving fines or arresting people for, gathering in groups larger than 5. But the problem is the government is. They're talking about giving fines and arresting people who are
Yeah, I
gathering.
know.
And insofar as the United States goes, and I think I mentioned this in the last time, where they're saying churches have to remain closed and fining or arresting people who are holding church services. Sorry. There's First Amendment in the Bill of Rights in the United States where freedom to assemble and freedom of religion.
Yeah.
And the Bill of Rights doesn't go out the window because people are scared. So because it's and the issue is, yes, you're right. These people should not have gone to that. They should have stayed home. They should have done a virtual sermon or whatever, but they didn't. And people are like, well, there have to be consequences. Well, the consequence is if they're going out there and they're exposing themselves, putting themselves at risk, they're going to be the ones who take sick. And if they come into contact with family members who are immune compromised, they're putting them at risk. I get that. I understand that. But I'm not at a point where I'm going to say, okay, I'll throw all my civil rights out the window, all my natural rights out the window because everybody's scared. I just don't. I don't cotton to that, and I don't like because it's a slippery slope. Because if they can do it for this, they'll do it again. They'll do it for something else, and this is the exact sort of situation whereby tyrants seize control, and I don't want to be in that situation. So I'm inclined to say let's try and get back to a semblance of normalcy before we start talking about becoming more restrictive.
Yeah.
I mean, and plenty of people will disagree with me. I understand that, but it's not like the guy who went to the barbecue is now going in and hawking loogies on the eggs. It's not like that kid who decided to drink out of a bottle and put it back on the shelf. Those people are assholes, and they should be charged with contaminating food, right? With
Yeah.
basically just they're stealing property for one. They're stealing because they're drinking food, or they're contaminated. They're like willfully trying to contaminate. They should be charged with. And people are saying, well, they should be charged as terrorists. I'm like, well, that's a little extreme. But one kid that kid who was licking the bottles. He was charged with a terrorist act. Like, no, that should be criminal mischief, and it should be the highest fine you can give somebody for criminal mischief, or a night in jail. But yeah, I don't know. I'm less inclined to say, okay, government, I'm scared. Take more of my rights away because I don't want to be scared anymore.
Yeah. No. I hear you. But I'm still going to turn the hose on the neighbors if they have a big barbecue.
Go for it, man. I think it's better than calling the cops. I think handling it yourself is the better way to do it, personally. As long as the guy doesn't pull a gun, he'll shoot you. But that's less likely to happen in Canada.
Yeah,
In the United States, I can see that happening. Here, not so much. What are people saying? Mr. Dax says, I disagree a bit. If you know you're infected, then you're willfully endangering others. However, if you're not, and not being too touchy with the products, it's not a violation of the NAP. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. If you were going out of your way to be a shit and infect people by contaminating food supply, or spreading your germs, and you're sick, then you should be there should you be slapped on the pee-pee. You should be given a stern talking to. Oh, so far it seems shitty cops will make shitty calls. They aren't arresting dozens of people at a time. Yeah, something I saw a video online. It was in the UK. There was this cop who pulled over a car. I guess there was a stay inside order in one of the cities in London, or one of the cities in Britain. And he pulled over this car of 4 or 5 people. And this cop couldn't have been more than 20, 21 years old. He was a young kid, basically. And the guy who was driving was an older guy. He was, in his 40s or 50s. And he's saying, okay, yeah, well, you have to stop. And these people have to get out of the car and go either to their homes or go their own separate ways. He's like, but we're in the car already. Doesn't make any sense. He says, yes, but you have to stop, and you can go to... He says, we're just going to the grocery store to get groceries. Yeah, but you can't congregate in groups more than whatever. He's like, but we're already in the car. So if you're sent... And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, yeah, okay, so these guys are in the car. There's 5 people. Suppose all 5 are infected. They're confined to this car. They're going to do something that the government has said is okay to do. Grocery shop.
And
right?
You're going to make them spread out now.
And now you're going to make them separate. And if they're all infected, let's say, they're now all spreading it even further. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah. I mean, no, it doesn't, but I understand. I understand where you're...
The cops in the UK aren't fit for purpose anyway. I don't know why anybody even listens to them. After the bullshit they pulled in, the Rotherham sex scandal and the Luton sex scandal, child grooming gang scandal, and the way they behaved and the way they're acting now. If I were in the UK, I would be disinclined to listen to anything a cop told me. I would just ignore them and walk off. But they're not fit for purpose. They're just not, in my opinion. And Canada's getting like that, but our cops still carry guns, so I'm not inclined to. I'm not gonna go against them.
Yeah, no, it's a little different.
Sorry, man. I'm dominating your stream. I
No, go
apologize.
for it.
I'm not
Love it.
shutting up.
Oh, now let's go back.
Let's look at something.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Here we go. The Ontario's ICU capacity, right?
Mhm.
That we're still under the current capacity, at least, well, as of the 2nd of April, but the rate of change is still growing. And they have 900 additional planned ICU beds for Ontario. Unmitigated, that wouldn't nearly be enough by, say, 2 weeks into April. But yeah, taking the precautions, it should be okay. And being able to get more people that are infected into beds is going to save more lives, right? That the you'll stay under the, what is it, 3 to 5% kill rate as
Yeah.
long as more people can be treated. Like it got so high in, say, Italy, largely because they just got overwhelmed and started telling 80-year-old people don't come.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I have my own feelings about that, but yeah, they were hit hard too. It was
Oh yeah.
it was all the 80-year-old people who were who were getting infected. Oh, you got it, huh? You're pretty old. I don't think we should bother trying to treat you because you're probably going to die anyway.
No, and that was something else. I saw an article a little while ago about Canada that, rather, like, they're not really taking the steps that would really mitigate this, but they're already talking about triaging people to death.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, they did a poll recently, right around the time of this outbreak, and I guess because Italy, being part of the European Union, relies heavily on Germany and some of the richer nations, to meet its needs for its citizens. And when it was basically revealed that all these other nations, like in Brussels and in the European Union itself, they're basically saying every man for himself, every nation for themselves, and all the nations are like, no, we got to take care of our own people. Uh, they did a poll of Italians, and like 80% of them, or even 88, I think, said they'd rather be out of the European Union at this point. So that's why I think the EU is gonna. This is one of the probably one of the last nails of the coffin of the EU. After this is all said and done, there's going to be more and more people invoking Article 50.
Yeah.
More and more nations invoking Article 50. So, which is a good thing, personally. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you're another organization not fit for purpose is the European Union.
No, I agree. The UK agrees. Well, 51% of them agree.
We we need some more interactions in the chat. Okay, Ibet Last said 201 is real. One quick dub said Event 201 was a conference last year outlining almost this exact scenario. Well, that's the thing, right? Because it was almost this exact scenario, it gets the noggin jogging. It activates the almonds and makes you think, okay, is this something that they realize, hey, we could implement this. We could work with our partners in China to make it happen. And we can control the narrative enough. We can take down Donald Trump.
Mm. Oh, but
That's my conspiracy mind going.
the and I mean, the problem I have with those things is that, like, it's retrospectively, you can always say that's exactly what this meant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But pandemics happen
Mm-hmm.
intermittently, right?
Yeah, but we've never had a reaction like this to it, like a public reaction to like this to pandemics. Like, this
No,
is
yeah,
new. The edicts and the decrees and the action by the powers that be is all new. Never been done like this before. So that's what makes you go, okay, why are we treating this one differently than H1N1? or anything else we've ever faced before.
It's because of the long, contagious, asymptomatic period.
Yeah, I get that. There's a longer, yeah, asymptomatic incubation period. Yeah, um, I understand it. I don't agree with all the measures, like I've said already. I don't agree with all the measures being taken. I'm wary of what it might lead to. But right now, I'm playing ball.
No, yeah, and I mean, taking the right precautions is what is going to keep the numbers down, right? And that's why it bugs me so much when the government is saying, "Oh no, it's no big deal," and then the media is saying it's no big deal, right? And for all the information that we can't get out of China accurately, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure why, but people seem pretty confident in the number of cell phones being used in China. And
Yeah,
what's happened over the past 4 months now is a
21 million. I think
21
21 million.
million cell phones
Yeah,
no longer being used in China,
yeah.
right?
What does that tell you?
A lot of those are probably like people being arrested or having their phone service turned off, but at least some of it has to be people died.
Yes, that's just it, right? Or the government shutting off services because they don't want information getting out.
Yeah.
Because despite their lockdown of the internet, there people can still get information out.
Mm.
Right. So yeah, that's a little bit of a skeptic, but we know now that it's they're what 8 or 9,000 deaths that they've reported. Now reports are coming out. It's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 or 50,000
And
people have died from it.
yeah, I think that's low.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that it's probably more, upwards of 100,000.
Yeah. Uh, and that, yeah. Don't trust China. China's an asshole.
It's true. Well, have you got any plans? What are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Ugh. Not enough, because the past few months feels like a year long, man.
Yeah, it seems as though like I've been working from home for I want to say 3 weeks now, but it feels like it's been more like six.
Yeah, like it's just dragging.
Yeah,
Just dragging.
I'll be honest though, I don't mind working from home. I really don't.
Hmm. No, it's all right.
It's actually kind of nice. Um, I miss going out and doing things. That's what it comes down to. It's
Yeah.
not the working from home thing that I don't like. It's the the time outside of work hours, because when I'm working from home, I'm keeping busy. But it's time outside of work hours. I'm like, I wish I could go somewhere and do something. I mean, I never like to go walk in the mall, and I'm not saying I want to walk in the mall, but just taking my dog to a dog park would be nice. Because they've closed all the dog parks, which is another thing
Yeah.
that drives me nuts. I'm like, okay, these dog parks are fenced in areas that are generally, an acre and a half or half an acre or whatever. They're pretty big,
Hmm.
right? And everybody knows the social distancing rules. Typically, you go there with your dog. You let your dog run free and have fun with the other dog, and you don't tend to get too close to other people anyway. Even before COVID-19, you were about 6 feet away from them anyway. Some people would gather in groups and gossip and shit, but now they know they can't do that, so just stand a little bit further apart. Dogs aren't carriers of it, as far as we know. They're not going to spread it to us. So I guess there might be an instance where two dogs would get in a tussle and owners have to get closer to each other to break them up. But those are pretty rare at dog parks to begin with.
Yeah.
Dogs generally, they get along pretty good. And if you got a dog that's inclined to attack another dog that shouldn't be at a dog park in the first place.
Yeah, but there's always that one asshole.
Yeah, that's true. You always run into one. You're always wary of that one too. You never know which dog it's going to be. But I don't know. I'd like it if the dog parks were open again. It's one thing. It's kind of annoying that they're not.
Yeah, no, my guy, he doesn't care for he doesn't care for new dogs. He has his friends he knew from a puppy, but he doesn't want to meet new dogs.
Well, we used to take Kenzie to Bronny Creek Provincial Park, right? Because it's not just like a fenced-in area. It's a big, large sort of nature hiking trail
Yeah,
that's leash free, and like it was great. She would get to sniff everything and meet all these dogs, nice and wide open. And again, people didn't congregate in large groups together. They were walking their dogs. You might pass by somebody, but you're probably 15 feet away from them anyway. So why that particular thing is closed is, it's because the provincial park is closed, and so that's why that's closed. But still, it's frustrating because I take her for walks around the block, but she needs to run.
yeah, yeah. My dog's lazy though, so walks are fine.
Yeah,
Into the elbow when you cough. There you go.
that's right.
But yeah, what do you say? Has this been a successful stream?
I think so. I
Yeah.
I, I kind of feel bad because I feel like I hogged
No, not at all.
I hogged the stream.
Don't at all. It was awesome.
Is anyone else going live? Is Pox going live tonight?
I don't know. He was invited here, but I think he's busy with the wife and kids, just shit talking in the chat there.
There you go. Yeah, I don't see him now, so he might have left. But yeah, no, it was a good time. Thank you once again for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming, sir. And yeah, what have you got in the works?
Well, like I said, I want to maintain a somewhat reasonable upload schedule, so I'm going to try and make some more videos. I thought I might do a gameplay using OBS and rant into the microphone while I'm playing,
Nice.
but I'll have to figure out what it is I want to do. And but yeah, on YouTube, I'll give myself a plug right now. You can follow me on YouTube. It's my channel name is Craig Bragg, which is my name, CraigBragg. On Twitter, I am at BraggCD, and you can find me there when I'm not in Twitter jail. And yeah, I hope you all are keeping safe out there. And if you want to check out my channel, feel free to like and share and subscribe and all that kind of stuff.
Beautiful. And I I don't produce content. But, I will be live streaming semi regularly, so Craig Bragg does all the work while Irving just lies there. Yep.
I wouldn't call it work.
That's why I have him on.
It's nothing but a joy. And my videos, there's not a lot of work put into them. My camera in my car, and I talk while I'm driving.
And you still do a great job.
Well, thank you very much. I love your stuff too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Circle jerk. Here we go. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be doing another one sooner rather than later, hopefully. That sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Okay. Take it
care,
easy, everyone. Stay safe. Don't get corona'd.
Wash your penis.
Wash your penis.